This is Overtime with Chris Dewar, only on KHQA.
Well, this is Saturday, May the 7th, and you have entered Overtime, where tonight's life lesson, kids, is if you choose to shave your head, you can't hide the evidence when you bump your noggin, because you think the laws of the physical world don't apply to you and you just like to walk through doors. Okay, enough staring at my hematoma. I am not an animal. I digress. This proved to be an extremely glorious day to be outdoors, and with all manner of baseball, softball, soccer, track, and field all going on, we did not have the luxury of standing around in one spot for very long today. Straight ahead, we've got Diamond Fun for you from the Hannibal Tournament, the Q&D Softball Cluster, the Griggsville Perry Tournament, and much, much more. But we start tonight by tracking the goings-on in East Peoria, where the Quincy University Lady Hawks are fighting for their NCAA tournament lives this weekend, not to mention perhaps a dark horse bid at a GLVC tournament championship. They would have to win out today 3 separate games. The Lady Hawks proved to be really good with their backs to the wall. Game number 1 against Northern Kentucky. Quincy University wins 2-0. Whitney Krager, the Palmyra product, with the only blast of the game, a 2-run homer to provide just enough margin of victory for Tori Bunzel, who struck out 14 today in a one-hitter. So Quincy University advances on to a second game of the day against Rockhurst. And again, Quincy University shows its resolve. Grittier than a sandpaper sandwich today. They come back, score 2 runs in the bottom of the 7th to win, and come from behind fashion. Christina Hughes with a game-winning double in that one to force one more game. And the Lady Hawks, go figure, they win yet again. That score is reversed. Quincy University beats UMSL 3-1. So Quincy University, thanks to Sam O'Brien's early RBI, gets 3 straight victories today. They advance on to the championship game tomorrow. The good news, they're still alive and kicking. The bad news, they've got to beat Lewis twice, a team they have not played this season. More good news, though, that means Lewis has not seen Tori Bunzel since last season, which means it's going to be awfully hard for Lewis to find hits. Those games taking place tomorrow. Again, Quincy University must win 2 to end up in the GLVC champion at the end of it, but it looks like, based on the 3 wins today, Quincy University's odds of making the NCAA tournament regardless are going to be very, very good going forward. Well, for a change, Mother Nature opted not to rain, quite literally, on Clint Graham's baseball parade. Torrential downpours have a funny way of happening every time the Hannibal baseball tournament graces our calendar. This weekend went off without a hitch in America's hometown, with Q&D, Bowling Green, St. Louis Power, St. Dominic, and the host team emerging as your Final 4 after Friday's opening round. Semifinals today, we start you off with Hannibal taking on Bowling Green. Clint Graham's squad out of the gate in a furious pace in this one. It's Ethan Huddleston opening the game with a double, and that would really set the tone the rest of the way. Bases now loaded for Caleb Whelan, who's going to hit the ball right through the gap between short and third to score a pair of runs at that point. Hannibal building the early lead. It's one they're not going to relinquish, and it's one they're not going to give back. Brandon Scott steps up in the same spot right there, mind you. The Hannibals extend their lead in the first inning to 8-0 as they would send 13 hitters to the plate in the top of the first. Bowling Green trying to come back. Football star Mark Gibson shows he can wield a little aluminum as well with the RBI rip right there. And then it's Craig Feldyworth right here scoring David Goodard on the sac fly, but too little too late for the Bobcats as Hannibal advances on into the finals with a 15-4 victory. Meanwhile, Quincy Notre Dame taking on state powerhouse from Missouri, St. Dominic. Best game of the day on paper. It was all about Kramer Barnes in this one, finding some loose ground and a little free acreage out there along the third base line. Kramer Barnes with the RBI rip. He also pitched his team to victory as Quincy Notre Dame beat St. Dominic in rather emphatic fashion. 8-4 was your final. Setting up our championship game, we take you to the highlights of those right now. And in the first inning, Quincy Notre Dame about to go nuts. Middle of the lineup, good in this one. Daniel Wyman with an RBI rip right there. This all happening with 1 out in the first inning, mind you. Your next batter would be Luke Stammerjohn, the lefty, getting a hold of something and finding some open grass out there to land that in. That's an RBI single for Mr. Stammerjohn. And the fun would just continue from there. A little bit later in the frame, it is Kramer Barnes forcing the runners over with a long double. Nobody scores on this one, but it sets the table nicely for Mr. Connor Cramsey. Going to step up and into short center field, drive another RBI home. Your next batter is Blake Doan. It was just this kind of night for the Pirates with a double to score a run at that point. Ryan Terstrup going to step in as well. You know what? Quincy Notre Dame sending 12 batters to the plate in the first inning. They're not done. Ryan Terstrup, as I mentioned, good in this one. Brandon Miles also going to make his presence felt, all in a frame that saw Quincy Notre Dame score 7 quick runs, giving Mason Eisenberg all the support he would need tonight. Quincy Notre Dame is your Hannibal Tournament champion. They win the final game tonight by the final count of 12-3. Earlier in the day, your opener today, Payson and Palmyra, kind of a play-in game back into the consolation draw here. Cody Ash starting things off on a good foot for Payson in this one with a leadoff single. 2 batters later, it's Johnny Mannion tripling to deep center field. Cody Ash would score, and Payson would take an early 2-0 lead in this game. Palmyra would wait a few innings and then awaken or erupt, or both, if you will. It would be Keith Caldwell, your outstanding catcher, known better for his defensive skills, been awfully good with the bat of late, and you're going to see it right here. He'll get the wheels turning on his offense right here as things are starting to crank. It is Mr. Caldwell with a hit right there. That would set up Brett McIlvain, who's going to put one into the blinding sun, confusing the Payson outfield like that. The Jedi mind trick, if you will, moving the runners up into scoring position for Mr. Seth Brown, who's going to hammer this deep double to give his team a 2-2 tie in this game. And Colton Good, who got the pitching start today, going to help his own cause as well, giving Palmyra the temporary lead in this game. It was a tight and hotly contested game, but eventually it would end up going Palmyra's way by the final count in this one of 8-7. Also today, Palmyra a winner over Monroe City by a score of 4-1. Let us take you now to the Payson. Let us take you now, to the Griggsville Perry tournament, where it's Griggsville Perry and Liberty going at it. Aaron Bird's team tied up at 5 at this point with Liberty, but look at this. Brad Rumpel, your hero on the day. 3 for 3 at the plate, 4 ribbies, including 2 right here to put his team ahead. 7-5 at this juncture. Jared Shover from Liberty, though, having no more of it, shutting down the Griggsville Perry offense from that point forward. Unfortunately for Liberty, Dryden Craven, who came on in relief, pitched 5 solid innings, actually 5 spectacular innings, gave up just 1 hit, gets the strikeout to end the game, and Griggsville Perry wins today in this game by the final count of 7-5. Griggsville Perry also doing some other damage as we take you to the scores, taking out Unity 11-2 as our man Jason Hobson throws a 4-hitter, a complete game victory today for Griggsville Perry in that one. Also, the other game of the day, Liberty and Unity paired heads up. This was like a football game. 18-14 your final. Jared Shover with a home run in the victory there for Liberty. Also, Pittsfield and West Central meeting today. Brian Bettis' team been one of the more pleasant surprises in our area this spring. Sauke's already up 3-0 in this one when Gavin Bogan slices a hard double into left field. That'll score a run and extend the lead at that point to 4-0. The Cougar offense trying to get a rally going, but everything they'd hit seemingly early in this game went to the hot corner, and in the hot corner, Brad Hamilton was hot with his defense. A couple of great snares right here to take away potential base hits from West Central at that point. However, West Central would finally break through. Dylan Guthrie doing some work right here, out into short center field, short left center, if you will, to score a run, making it 4-1. Then Jordan Bass stepping up. He pitched today, pitched pretty well for the most part. He would step up and cut that lead to 4-2 with a nice piece of hitting right here. So you think West Central kind of a gathering storm at this point? Pittsfield had other ideas. A little controversy, though, coming up right here. Braden Cox stepping to the plate, going to drive one deep into center field. Should be enough to get the run to score. Gavin Bogan on his hustle, but look at the play at the plate. Is he safe, or is the tag applied before he touches the dish? It looks like the tag got in, and Gavin Bogan should have been out, but it was ruled the other direction. And then the big blow right here. A beautiful sacrifice bunt that scores not 1, but 2. The super squeeze, if you will, laid down neatly by Corey Coltvate, and Pittsfield gets the win in Game 1 of the doubleheader 7-4, and Pittsfield completes the sweep, winning Game number 2 as well. 10-2 is your final on the day as the Sauke's jump back up above the 500 mark. Also on the day, Farmington knocks off Rushville Industry 8-4, despite a banner day at the plate from Keaton Dyke. Illini West with a split against Orion, identical scores. Game number 1, Jack Carlisle with 2 home runs in that ball game. Game number 2, all about Orion as they win 15-5 there. Rock Island today sweeps a pair from Quincy High School as well as the Blue Devils fall to 1-9 now in Western Big 6 conference play on the season. When we come back, we survey a busy day of high drama, both on soccer and softball for Quincy Notre Dame, plus your Good Call segment of the week and your chance to win a prize package from Symmetry Wireless.